Tensions in the Gaza Strip have once again escalated. Palestinian resistance forces successfully disabled an Israeli Merkava battle tank in a swift and calculated operation. The incident occurred near Al-Badr Mosque in the Al-Zaytoun district, southern Gaza City, on Friday, August 22, 2025. According to field reports, the operation began when an Israeli soldier was seen exiting the Merkava tank. Within seconds, a precise shot from a Palestinian sniper struck the target, killing the soldier instantly. The tank, left in a vulnerable condition, soon became the next objective. Local media, including Al Mayadeen, reported that the incident created panic among Israeli military ranks. Helicopters were immediately dispatched to evacuate the casualty and secure the area. Yet, this rapid reaction highlighted the immense pressure faced by Israeli forces against an increasingly sophisticated resistance. Analysts say this was one of the most significant blows to Israel's ground forces in recent weeks. It also underscored the growing tactical capabilities of Palestinian resistance groups, who are no longer relying solely on rocket attacks but now demonstrating surprising precision and ground-based strategy. Beyond the sniper strike on the Merkava, the Gaza operation also featured coordinated mortar fire from multiple brigades. On August 18, 2025, the Al-Quds Brigade and the Al-Nasser Salah al-Din Brigade launched simultaneous attacks on an Israeli convoy along Al-Falat Road, north of Khan Yunis. According to official local reports, resistance fighters used standard 60mm mortars to target Israeli military vehicles. The strikes were conducted under close coordination, with Islamic Jihad units acting as field command. The rapid and accurate mortar fire forced the convoy to retreat, while several vehicles reportedly sustained heavy damage. This operation demonstrated the ability of Gaza's fighters to orchestrate simultaneous attacks combining ground tactics with long-range fire. Eyewitnesses reported explosions echoing throughout Al-Falat Road, sparking panic among Israeli troops. Israeli helicopters attempted evacuation, but the mission was disrupted by the continuous barrage of mortar shells. Military analysts emphasized that this was not luck but the result of careful planning, terrain advantage, and strong inter-brigade coordination. The effectiveness of the 60mm mortar fire proved that resistance fighters are now capable of countering Israeli armor with modernized tactics. The incident prompted swift Israeli responses, including tighter patrols and reinforced security across Gaza. Yet despite Israeli air and ground superiority, Palestinian resistance managed to capture international attention by showing operational control in the field. The Israeli military's response to the Gaza ambush was immediate and intense. Combat helicopters and armored vehicles were deployed to stabilize the situation around Al-Badr Mosque in the Al-Zaytoun district. Their mission: evacuate casualties, recover the disabled Merkava tank, and prevent further resistance attacks. Yet, Palestinian resistance pressure disrupted Israeli maneuvers. Every movement of Israeli forces risked coordinated mortar fire from the Al-Quds and Al-Nasser brigades. The 60mm mortars targeted strategic choke points, forcing Israeli troops to reposition constantly and maintain safer distances. Witnesses described visible panic among soldiers along Al-Falat Road north of Khan Yunis. Beyond the battlefield, civilian life was severely affected. Residents witnessed the dramatic evacuation as explosions echoed through their neighborhoods. Schools and public facilities were shut down, while families were urged to temporarily evacuate to avoid further danger. Military experts stressed that this operation revealed the growing sophistication of Palestinian tactics. The combination of sniper precision and mortar accuracy forced Israel to adapt to an increasingly complex battlefield. It was not only a tactical victory but also a symbolic one, raising the profile of the Al-Quds Brigade and allied groups. As night fell, the standoff continued. Israeli patrols expanded both by land and air, while Palestinian fighters held their positions, waiting for new opportunities to strike. The international community began closely monitoring developments, aware that Gaza remains one of the most volatile flashpoints in the Middle East. Coordination among Palestinian resistance brigades became a defining feature of the Gaza operation. The Al-Quds Brigade, Al-Nasser Salah al-Din Brigade, and Islamic Jihad showcased advanced synergy, blending mortar strikes with sniper precision and reconnaissance. Each unit operated with specific roles, maximizing battlefield impact while minimizing risks to their own fighters. Analysts argue that the success was less about firepower and more about planning. Fighters used their intimate knowledge of Gaza's terrain to spread across hidden positions near Al-Falat Road, maintaining optimal firing ranges and targeting Israeli vehicles at weak points. Mortar rounds caused serious damage, while the disabled Merkava became a stark reminder of Israel's vulnerabilities. The psychological toll on Israeli troops was significant. Reports noted moments of confusion under sustained fire from multiple angles. Internal communications faltered as resistance brigades struck simultaneously. Evacuation by helicopter became critical as soldiers found themselves exposed in a hostile environment. For civilians, the coordinated attack created moments of terror. The sounds of explosions, the vibrations of mortar impacts, and helicopter sirens forced families into hiding. Yet, for many in Gaza, this showcased the determination and capability of resistance groups to stand firm against Israeli military might. International observers are now evaluating how such joint operations could alter the balance of power in the region. By demonstrating cohesion, discipline, and intelligence-driven planning, Palestinian brigades proved they are not just reactive forces but capable of mounting offensive campaigns with strategic depth. The Merkava ambush and mortar strikes quickly drew international headlines. Media outlets across the globe highlighted the escalation as evidence of rising Palestinian resistance capabilities. The United Nations and several European nations called for restraint, while humanitarian organizations urged protection for civilians caught in crossfire. Israel's military command vowed tighter control over Gaza, announcing reinforced aerial patrols, expanded use of surveillance drones, and fortified tank deployments at strategic locations. Yet, despite these countermeasures, analysts admitted that the sniper and mortar coordination posed a serious challenge to Israel's ground dominance. Experts noted the psychological dimension. This was not just about damaged hardware but about morale. Israeli troops found themselves increasingly cautious, knowing that resistance fighters could strike with precision at any moment. For Palestinians, the operation sent a message that they could plan offensives with accuracy, exploiting intelligence and local knowledge. Civilian life, however, bore the heaviest burden. Schools, markets, and public services closed as families sought safety. Despite the hardships, Gaza's communities demonstrated resilience, adapting to uncertainty with determination. Meanwhile, social media amplified the impact. Images of the smoking tank, mortar craters, and frantic evacuations spread rapidly, fueling debates worldwide. Analysts suggested this operation could reshape regional strategies, reminding the world that Gaza remains a critical battleground with deep political, military, and humanitarian consequences. Following the initial strikes, Palestinian fighters prepared for the next phase. The Al-Quds and Al-Nasser brigades, along with Islamic Jihad, reorganized their units for sustained resistance. Snipers were repositioned across rooftops, mortar teams reloaded, and reconnaissance posts monitored Israeli troop movements. Commanders ensured a rotation system to keep fighters alert. Defensive positions were reinforced, using Gaza's urban terrain, alleys, hills, and concealed rooftops to counter Israeli advances. Every sniper post and mortar launch point was chosen to exploit blind spots in Israeli patrol routes. Encrypted radios enabled real-time communication between brigades. Reconnaissance units tracked both ground convoys and drone flights, allowing quick adjustments to firing strategies. This adaptability turned the resistance into a flexible force capable of countering Israel's superior air surveillance. Symbolically, the preparation carried weight. For Israel, it signaled that the Gaza fighters were far from exhausted. For the Palestinians, it highlighted discipline and readiness, showcasing an organized military front rather than scattered militants. Civilians once again braced for escalation. Families stocked supplies and sought shelters as neighborhoods prepared for prolonged conflict. The resilience of Gaza's society became intertwined with the fighters' endurance, forming a critical backbone for ongoing resistance. The psychological aftermath of the operation began to unfold. Reports from the ground indicated heightened anxiety among Israeli soldiers. Facing mortar barrages and sniper fire from multiple directions, units became increasingly wary. Even routine maneuvers were slowed by fear of ambush. Commanders attempted to adapt, shifting tanks to fortified positions and relying heavily on drones. Yet the unpredictability of resistance strikes, delivered with precision and timing, created ongoing uncertainty. Analysts described it as a battlefield where Israel is forced to play defense. Palestinian fighters, by contrast, displayed coordination and confidence. Snipers, mortar crews, and scouts worked seamlessly, demonstrating discipline under pressure. Familiarity with Gaza's landscape gave them an undeniable advantage, enabling rapid deployment and swift retreat when needed. For civilians, the experience was harrowing. The thunder of explosions, collapsing structures, and the constant buzz of helicopters turned daily life into survival. Schools and public facilities remained closed. Yet within this environment, resilience grew stronger, as families adapted to living under constant threat. International analysts highlighted how such operations shift regional dynamics. By proving their ability to challenge a technologically superior military, Palestinian brigades demonstrated the effectiveness of asymmetric warfare. This raised critical questions for Israel's long-term strategy in Gaza. The Gaza operation, from the sniper strike to the mortar bombardments, became a defining moment for Palestinian resistance. Between August 18 and 22, 2025, fighters executed an offensive that not only damaged Israeli armor but also showcased their strategic maturity. The Al-Quds Brigade, Al-Nasser Salah al-Din Brigade, and Islamic Jihad emerged as central players. With clearly defined roles, snipers, mortar units, reconnaissance, they conducted a synchronized campaign that overwhelmed Israeli defenses. The disabled Merkava tank stood as a visible symbol of their success. Psychologically, the operation rattled Israeli troops and forced tactical adjustments. For Gaza civilians, it brought hardship, displacement, and fear. Yet it also reinforced the image of resilience and defiance, deeply ingrained in the fabric of the community. Globally, the attack captured attention. News networks broadcast images of damaged vehicles, emergency evacuations, and smoke-filled Gaza skies. The United Nations issued calls for restraint, while analysts warned that Gaza remains one of the most volatile flashpoints in the Middle East. Ultimately, the operation sent a clear message. Palestinian resistance forces are not only defensive but capable of launching modern, offensive operations with discipline and planning. Gaza remains fragile, but it also stands as a symbol of resistance that continues to shape regional geopolitics.